With just 3 races into 2026, Charles Leclerc is already looking to commit his long-term future with Ferrari, and I hope he does not do that. Let me explain. Italian publication Auto Racer has reported that Leclerc was approached by Aston Martin and the driver has declined the offer and is looking to commit his future with Ferrari. The driver does have a multi-year contract with Ferrari that goes on until 2029. However, there is an exit clause for the 2026 season. In 2025, Leclerc was quite explicit when he said that the 2026 season and how Ferrari is performing in that year is going to determine his long-term future with the team. Now he has seen 3 races and he thinks Ferrari is the way to go. I have serious reservations and I would suggest that he does not take this call. Well, first of all, when it comes to Ferrari, false dawns are nothing new. Ferrari has been a team that has been one of the top 4 teams since 2005-2006. However, since 2008, the team has not even won a single championship. It's not because it has not shown signs of brilliance. It's because it has lacked that final inch or the final 10th or the final 1% to make it to the top. That has been the problem forever. And we can look at Charles Leclerc's stint at Ferrari as well. He has been with Ferrari for 7 years now. He joined the team in 2019. We are in 2026. And during this period, Leclerc has been the benchmark in the team. At the same time, he has put together some stunning results that many times the car did not even deserve. However, despite being one of the top drivers in Formula 1, Leclerc is yet to even fight for a championship. Yes, he's been with the top team for 7 years now and he has not fought for a championship even once. And talking about these false signs of hope, we can take a look at 2022. In 2022, the previous set of regulations and the very first year, we had Charles Leclerc win 2 of the first 3 races and finish second in the other one. He was leading the championship by 46 points from Max Verstappen after 3 races. And then we all know what happened. Ferrari capitulated in 2022. Then came 2023 and it was the year of rebuild because Mattia Binotto was fired and Fred Vasseur was brought in. 2024, Ferrari once again showed a sign of resurgence and they almost won the Constructors' Championship in the last race of the season. Then came 2025. In 2025, Ferrari fell back to 4th in the championship and could not win a single race. So Ferrari having spurts of positivity is nothing new. However, there's also a reality here. Ferrari might be the second best team in Formula 1 right now, but it is still losing a second per lap on the straights to the benchmark, which is Mercedes. And that's a massive gap, and it is almost a failure on the power unit side of things that the team can lose such a significant amount of time. Not only that, even as a package, Ferrari is around half a second or so behind Mercedes. That's a massive gap. How can we be sure that Ferrari can bridge this gap? Even in the past, in the previous set of regulations, we've had Ferrari be the second fastest car, but it has never been able to bridge that final 1%. How can Leclerc be sure that this time around it's going to be different? We haven't really seen the evidence of it. To add to this, it is too early to predict what the pecking order is going to be. If you remember the previous set of regulations, McLaren in the first year of ground effect finished 5th in the championship. It was too far behind. It had only 1 podium of note. That is it. That was the entire season for McLaren. Then came 2023 and the team took a drastic step forward, and from that point onwards it became a front runner. Why I'm using this example? I'm using this example to illustrate that in Formula 1, it is not easy to predict the pecking order with just 3 races into a regulation. We've not seen anything yet. And for Charles Leclerc, it would make sense for him to sit back and analyze how the grid is taking shape. At least wait until the first half of the season is done, because at least by then you'll have a certain idea of what the pecking order is going to be. And just to add to it, Charles Leclerc should realize the position that he holds on the current F1 grid. He is arguably one of the most sought after drivers in Formula 1 right now. After Max Verstappen, who might potentially retire, Charles Leclerc is potentially the next best talent that is available and on the market. And this does mean that he would have options on the table, and ultimately it comes down to how he evaluates and what he picks and chooses. With just 3 races gone, we have no idea where McLaren would be by mid-season. What if McLaren's upgrade in Miami helps the team bridge the gap to Mercedes? What if we end up with a scenario where Ferrari's upgrade for the power unit ends up being a disaster? What if Ferrari falls back? even behind both Mercedes and McLaren, and maybe a third contender jumps in. We don't know anything right now. It's just been 3 races. And what if there are more contenders? What if Aston Martin, for that matter, ultimately they are able to solve the power unit issues? What if Honda is able to find more performance from the package, and we are looking at a team that makes serious jumps in the pecking order? What if Williams improves? Currently, it is a car that is 30 kg overweight. But what if that car ultimately shreds that weight and we are looking at a more competent package that could potentially be fighting right at the front? We have no idea. We don't know which team out of all these is going to be the next McLaren of the ground defect era that just suddenly pops up and starts dominating the field. There's no clarity at this point, and jumping to commit to a team like Ferrari, it's not sensible in any which way. And finally, and probably the most important thing, and I think this is something that Charles Leclerc would be thinking over as well, it is the reality that Charles Leclerc right now, he is 28 years of age. Whatever next contract he signs, whatever next commitment he makes, that commitment could potentially dictate what his career is going to be. At this point, Leclerc is transitioning from being the young upcoming star in Formula 1 to a veteran. In the next 2-3 years, he will be closer to 30 than 20s. And what that means is you are looked at differently. At the same time, there are more talents that are making their way to Formula 1. You've got Kimi Antonelli already winning races and fighting for the championship. Ollie Bearman is going to make progress. Gabriel Bortoleto, Isaac Hadjar, and maybe even Arvid Lindblad and some other young driver could also pop up. Ultimately, if you end up reaching the 30s and you've not achieved the kind of success that is comparable to the talent and the performance that you've shown, you start getting looked at differently, and the appeal of a Charles Leclerc will start diminishing. So if Charles Leclerc ends up committing to a team that is going to be a perennial disappointment, then that is ultimately going to hurt his overall legacy. And at the end of the day, if he is going to be part of Formula 1, it's what you end up achieving in the sport that matters. Everything else is immaterial. You could spend 11 and 12 years at Ferrari, but if you've not achieved success, it's a waste of everyone's time. And that is just the reality that I hope Charles understands. Overall, if I have to give an advice to Charles, I think ultimately it comes down to one very simple thing. After the first 3 races of season, while Ferrari's performances, they've been fine. Ferrari, as a team that is always supposed to fight for the championship, is currently picking up podiums that are just left for scraps after the Mercedes duo pick up the first 2 positions on the podium. That's just the reality right now. The car is at least half a second slower than Mercedes, and the power unit is almost a second slower. In reality, it is a decent package because McLaren and Red Bull, they're not there yet. And once they get their acts together, Ferrari will have to pull up the socks. And they haven't done that yet. And throughout the Ferrari's recent history, we've seen the falls dawns. We've seen a few positives being overstated and being turned into something that they aren't. So if I have to give a certain advice to Charles Leclerc, from me, the advice is going to be very simple. Wait at least until mid-season. And if at that point it becomes clear that Ferrari is making progress, stick to it. But if you see that the Ferrari is not making progress, there is a certain level of stagnation or even regression, that is the moment where you pack up your bags and see which team do you think is going to be the one that's going to have a strong future. Maybe talk to Zach Brown. Maybe he might want to replace an Oscar Piastri for Charles Leclerc. Maybe talk to Williams. Maybe they are progressing and maybe that is the team that's going to be the next breakout star. We don't know that yet. And making a call after just 3 races, don't do that. It makes no sense and ultimately it's very premature. For a driver like Charles Leclerc who holds all the leverage and all the cards on the current grid right now, what he needs to do is he needs to wait and dictate the driver market. That's how it is supposed to be. The attraction of Ferrari is unmistaken. Everyone knows that it exists. But Leclerc, where he is right now in his career, he needs to think about the long game. And the long game does not feature having trust in Ferrari if the progress is just not there. So yeah, that's my take. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.